You're waiting for the DP.
Whip it out and see what happens.
You're gonna suck my
Whip
dick.
it out and see what happens.
You're going to suck my dick.
If it gets me Dr. Pepper, I'll do just about anything. I don't think you'll whip your dick out in front of me.
Okay, I want you to suck Aiden's
That is different.
Aiden, turn your phone on.
Still a dick in your mouth.
Please.
No
You know it
fucking...
matters who it is.
Yeah, Tristan, can I get some Dr. Pepper?
God, do not give me that. Spit it. Spit it. Spit that shit. Please? You're so proud of yourself.
I hope you know if I spit it, it's going on you.
And then you owe me the rest of that shit.
Just put it in his mouth.
Spit it in his mouth.
Damn it. Damn!
Oh, wow, he really just did you like that.
I ate that.
Nice try. You drink all of his stuff.
How about all in agreement?
How about this? No, I have a good one. No. I'm trying to get over this. No, the difference between primarily story games and primarily multiplayer games.
Oh,
Okay.
if you wouldn't have moved.
What do you mean?
Watch.
You almost fucked up.
You like that?
I want Chinese food right now. 100% of the time, it's like.
Oh, you suck, girl! Time to get hard!
Okay. What's going on, YouTube? It's Doughboy Games back here. We're coming at you with a new series called Roundtable, and basically what it is, we're gonna get all the Doughboys here. We got all 5 of us here, and we're just gonna talk about different kinds of game genres, consoles, different games, series, characters, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. We're gonna debate on it. We're gonna have questions. It's like a Socratic seminar, but not in your bullshit history class. Let's get right into it. Roll the clip. Like this is episode 1 of Roundtable. Today we're gonna be talking about single player games versus multiplayer games.
Every time you say that, I have to edit some shit out.
God, Tristan!
Fuck.
These are Indian guys on Facebook trying to get to underage pussy. Okay. First question. Most single player games cost more than multiplayer games, right? The story games? You all agree on that?
Is it worth the money to buy a single player game when you can play with other people and have more play time in general?
Well, I mean, typically, single player games are way different than some multiplayer games.
Exactly. They're a lot more content driven.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also...
Fallout.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
also, you have to think about like the replayability, because like you could get through a single player game story mode and like never touch it again.
That all has to do with your creativity.
Well, I mean, with Fallout, they did Fallout 76 and made it multiplayer too.
Yeah, but it was crap.
That's a fair point.
That brings up another question. Like, do you guys think it's worth it for a company to take somebody they're doing really good with, like Bethesda Games, like
What?
having?
That's Bethesda.
Okay, fuck me, right?
Bethesda.
Whatever.
Oh my god.
Taking a franchise they did really well with, like Fallout, and then kind of fucking themselves in the asshole with Fallout 76.
Well, okay, so it wasn't that like... this is kind of hard to explain. For me, at least. It's not exactly that Fallout 76, like, the concept wasn't trash.
Yeah.
It's just the execution was.
No, the
They didn't have
concept was
enough
pretty
time to
good.
finish it, and on top of that, you have games that were supposed to be hybrid story and multiplayer games, such as Destiny, that just turned into multiplayer games because of the time frames that these companies allow them to have.
Yeah.
That's why Bungie split from Activision.
But to answer your question, Ben, about like if it's worth it, no, I feel like it just depends on the person. But for me, I definitely would buy a multiplayer game before that, because when it comes to story games, I lose interest so quickly.
I do disagree a little bit with the statement that I would buy a multiplayer game first.
Okay.
So, the thing about single player games is that a lot of them do have multiplayer elements. When you play a single player game, and if you can keep interest in it without, your ADHD spiking. Let's see.
It's bad.
Sorry, continuing.
When you, most of the time, people come up with challenges and, you know, other stuff to keep them entertained with the game even after, you know, the game's over. That's why things in like Dark Souls games, for example, have New Game Plus, so that it's the same game, stronger enemies, they have more health, and you know, God of War has it too.
Yeah. Like, super unpopular opinion, because like to prove my point that it does depend on the person, is like Red Dead Redemption 2, amazing game, like almost won Game of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Like a great game, perfect all in almost every single aspect, and I lost interest like chapter 3. You know, and it's like a great game that I'm not gonna say is bad because it's better than every other game in my console, but I'm not interested in it anymore.
Right.
If they have enough like side missions to do that, it creates a whole nother like story mode kind of, because they have like Arkham Knight, for example, they have different paths that you have to complete 100%, and then if you complete all those 100%, it gives you another ending. But I personally would buy a single player game over a multiplayer game any day. Like, I would buy Marvel's Spider-Man over Black Ops 4.
Definitely.
I guess it really just depends on the person and what they're into, because a lot of people are into single player games,
Yeah.
or story driven games, like Fallout. Like,
I think it also depends on like the quality of the game. Biggest thing about what? Oh, Jesus, fuck! I think the biggest thing about
What the fuck just happened?
whether or
what the
not
hell? No, pause. What the hell just happened?
Content.
I don't know. Content
I
happened.
want an explanation.
I think I almost inhaled some spit. Games like that really have to do with like how many. Oh shit! Oh god, no. What do I do?
Okay, well, no. Destiny really tried to make their game story driven, but like, say D1, the story was fucking all over the place, right?
Yeah.
D1 was all over the place, and people didn't really like it. I mean, it was still good, it was not 100% the best. And it really turned into a multiplayer game. AIDS, for example.
Yeah.
That's like both multiplayer and story kind of combined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get both aspects.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think like new developers coming into the game scene should try and build like a franchise off of multiplayer or a single player, or like in that gray area that we find Call of Duty in?
Well, honestly, I think people nowadays are more into multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree.
They
Like
sell
100%
better.
multiplayer games.
What was
Like,
that,
I
bro?
agree.
like it's like if you took a poll and asked people to choose between story and multiplayer, they would 100% pick
The-
multiplayer over story.
I think for the most, like Halo, honestly, story mode was way better than multiplayer.
Agreed.
No doubt, no doubt.
I don't know about that.
No, you cannot
You're
tell
getting-
me.
Dog, no.
You cannot.
you
tell me
cannot
that
argue
The
that.
story
You
was
cannot.
so-
No, you can.
No, you
No,
cannot.
you cannot.
Okay, let's hear it.
I can argue. Oh, okay. I know that story mode was better than multiplayer, but you can't.
That's what we're saying.
That's what we're
You
saying.
can't
Yeah. The
Subpar.
I feel like infection is the best part of multiplayer.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
Like
Okay.
regular deathmatch doesn't quite have the
It's not a first-person
capabilities.
shooter you're looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So
Because the time to kill is incredibly high. You can run off walls and stuff. Which is, I get Destiny does that, but they do it correctly.
Yeah. People say that Destiny tried to mock Halo and it's just like a knockoff Halo kind of thing.
No, they're made
But
by the
Destiny-
same developers.
Yeah, but Destiny did it way better.
Oh, 100%.
multiplayer aspects, yeah.
Because the time to
Story
kill
mode.
in Destiny is a lot lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story is because they made it a more
And-
fucking.
Honestly, Call of Duty is boots on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't want anything else.
The
other
thing
than
is,
boots on the ground.
Destiny started out as a game where it's space, rockets,
Yeah, it
you
had
jump
that.
around.
Exactly.
Like, if you were interested in something like that, you would buy Destiny. You
So-
wouldn't buy Call of Duty and think it's a boots on the ground, but then you
Yeah.
get a Destiny type game.
So
Fucking
like,
love Black Ops 4.
It's
like
definitely like a playstyle kind of thing.
it also.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a good game still, but like, it's
Well,
not.
I
Call-
think-
it's still not.
Aiden going.
you know, going back to the person who buys it and plays it, their opinions on the company and all that, but also the game developers, like what they can do with a multiplayer game, the restrictions of making a multiplayer game, and then the restrictions of making a single player game. In my opinion, the single player game is a lot less restricted than multiplayer games. Because a multiplayer game, you have to balance all the abilities, you have to balance all the weapons, you have to do all that. But in a single player game, you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
In a single player game, you can be as overpowered as you want.
That's true, yeah, because in multiplayer games, there's always like a new meta coming out, like a buff. There's lots of buffs, lots of nerfs. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you want to look at a game that had way too many nerfs and buffs, look at Fortnite. I'm serious. Just look at Fortnite.
Fan base got nerfed.
Literally. It's just sad how much it changed. Like Fortnite, it's not.
Yeah, I will always remember 2 and 3.
And I just never got into the third person shooter.
Yeah, agreed.
I prefer first person.
Well, I think a fantastic example of a third person shooter would be Dead Space.
That's true.
I never
Yeah,
played
Dead Space is great.
Like that was my first introduction to horror games.
But it's also story driven.
Yeah.
Well, no, Dead Space did have a multiplayer game mode, but it was horrible.
But people
Yeah.
don't know it.
That's what I'm
for
saying.
multiplayer.
I didn't say it didn't have multiplayer.
It's the
I'm saying
same
it's
thing with
story-driven.
the newest Doom that came out. This one was kind of an oddball though, because the Doom multiplayer, in my opinion, was really good. The story was fantastic, and it made you feel like a total badass, as a single player mode should. But the multiplayer was also really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
I thought it did things better than a lot of multiplayers have. And then you have games that, like Halo, especially Halo 4.
Yeah.
I thought Halo 4 had a great multiplayer. I grinded that shit for days.
Really?
I did. Halo 4, the story mode wasn't even that bad. Gigantic unpopular opinion.
Damn.
It's so great watching it.
And then the one who made it.
The one that did poo.
But yeah, Halo 4 took Halo in a very interesting direction.
Yeah.
More humanizing the Master Chief, and I don't know how I felt about that.
Yeah, I liked the Master Chief that was just
Being a
blowing
complete
shit
god.
up and fucking like
Halo 2.
plowing.
Oh, sorry, dude, you can't say that kind of shit around me.
Halo 2, in my opinion, is the best Halo.
Halo Reach.
But in a way, kind of getting back on topic, I think multiplayer games, at least when it comes to first-person shooters, can be a lot more realistic. Because hold on. Take a look at take a look at, for example, I'll take Call of Duty. Your time to kill from your enemies to you in the campaign is crazy. Can you imagine seeing that homie out in the battlefield? No,
Yeah,
no,
taking
not happening.
bullets
Literally.
over and over.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then you come to multiplayer and you get fucking quick scope off your dome in 3 seconds. You know, I think multiplayer games can just be a lot more realistic.
Yeah.
And which can be
Like Rainbow Six.
Exactly. Rainbow Six is a great example of a realistic shooter.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know how, besides maybe Battlefield, I don't know how much
Battlefield
more
and
realistic-
Rainbow Six.
I don't know how much more realistic you can get from that.
Yeah, but it's still like way more realistic than a lot of games.
Than
They
Call
have
of
like
Duty.
bullet drop and shit.
And
Call of Duty doesn't have bullet drops. You can snipe someone
Some game
300
does,
yards away
but that's a
by aiming on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about games like Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed's good.
The story mode is good.
I never really
the whole,
got into Assassin's Creed.
the whole Ezio collection and everything like that. But the thing is, I think it was Brotherhood that they introduced the multiplayer. The companies need to know when, like, when to stop and not just make something for, like, oh, they think it'll sell. Because the multiplayer in that game was terrible.
Yeah.
I hated it. It's, if you don't know what it is, it's you're an assassin none of the mainline ones like Ezio or Connor or anything like that. But you're just like a blending in character, and you have a little reticle underneath you, and it shows you where your target is, and you have to go find them in a crowd of people.
Yeah.
It just didn't work like how I think they wanted it to.
Like, I feel like when games do that, it turns into that one friend in the friend group that tries way too hard to be in the friend group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand
Sure.
the metaphor. Yeah. They need to know what type of game they're making and what's sold in the past instead of
Oh yeah.
So try to change.
But
You can't get on the fucking pole? Horse cock.